Yo, people, back again, back live for another episode. You might know the usuals by now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your people. But you just need to get straight into it because a lot has happened this week, and a lot has happened. And I mean, there's nowhere else to start but Old Trafford, and United got pumped. They got a serious pumping, man. It wasn't pretty. Um, Now let's stay with United first because I know we're gonna talk about the title race with Liverpool, City, and Chelsea and what this means. But let's start with the United first. Before we get onto Ole, let's talk about the game itself because United got ripped to shreds, man. And there's been a lot of talk about obviously their tactical structure, of Ole and stuff like that. But I mean, the game itself was all down to, the structure. You saw how United were trying to press with just little to no intensity, and Liverpool were just bypassing that. Liverpool are the worst team to be half-hearted with because if you're not full on with them, they're gonna rip you. And we saw that today, but obviously we'll get onto Ole and the ramification of this defeat. But Dan, what was your thoughts on the game itself? What really surprised you from watching it?
The thing that surprised me was how poor Man United's defense was and how poor they were structurally. Because if there's one thing that we can say about them in the Big Six games, especially last season, is that defensively they were solid enough. Like they had enough 0-0 draws that you could say, at least, even if they might not be offering anything going forward, at least defensively they're sound. But they were really poor, like really, really poor. Because Liverpool are, I think everyone can agree, Liverpool is an elite team, a top team. But I don't actually think by their own standards, Liverpool were that good or even needed to be that good. I think United were just really shocking. And I think the first goal was kind of really summed it up. It took two passes to cut through the team. Two. And Wan-Bissaka pushed up and Maguire was out of position and Lindelof came across and obviously Shaw had to cover. There was just no one at the back. And for the second goal, that was just comedy. Shaw and Maguire bumping into each other, and it was just really poor to watch. Really, really poor to watch. Going forward, they didn't offer anything. I think Ronaldo, obviously he scored the goal which was offside, but I think his fault or not his fault, he didn't really do much all game. I think Bruno again had another poor game against a Big Six team. Rashford didn't really do too much. And the midfield, I think that was really the I think their biggest area of weakness. Like Fred and McTominay looked completely out of their depth. Completely.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like with modern football nowadays, it's not even the midfield's fault. It's the because everything's like systematic. If one thing fails, another's gonna fail. United, like I sent it in the GC, United's pressures are decreasing from last season, and also the intensity in the way they press. So let me even bring it up now. The defensive actions. So obviously United are meant to be an attacking team, and
Are
it's
they?
still just
Are United an attacking team? Under Oli, have Man United ever really been an attacking team? They're a counter-attacking team, to be honest.
But no, but for a top team, you're meant to be an attacking
I think
team.
in terms of volume, they are top three at the moment. Yeah. They're only behind Man City and Liverpool in terms of shots. So,
but like when you're looking at it from this season, so an attacking team, when you look at it, are meant to press from the front. So the main attacking pressures statistics that we should be looking at is the attacking third, and they're in the bottom three. Admittedly, it's only the start of the season. The distances aren't crazy, but that's still concerning because you look at Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, they're right close to each other. And the fact that United are all the way at the bottom three, it does show you something. People are going to look at Ronaldo. He has a part to play in it, but I mean, it's quite an indictment that the team in general are not pressing as intently as they were in previous seasons. And it's really showing because then now that they're not pressing as intently, you're given so much responsibility on Fred and McTominay. They're almost like having to do like works of 2-3 players, and you can't expect that from any single player. So I don't even know if it's out of their depth. I think they're just not being helped at all. Down to Ollie as well, but the players.
But I don't think it's just out of possession though. In possession as well. Like McTominay, for example, McTominay does this thing where he hides all the time, especially when Man United are trying to play out from the back. He likes to hide so he doesn't get under pressure with the ball. And when you're trying to play out the back with Maguire, who I know some people say he's a good ball player, I don't think he's really comfortable on the ball. And Wan-Bissaka, I don't think he's the most comfortable on the ball either. It's not beneficial to anyone really. And obviously Fred, I know a lot of people have gone to Fred for his ball playing abilities and whatnot. And I think that especially them two together, when Man United tried to play out from the back, that was really putting them under pressure. And that's where I think they were out of their depth. Cater and Henderson were running them off the park. In terms of pressures, I don't think you make a good point in terms of that they've definitely pressured less this season, but I don't think you necessarily need to be the most pressing team to be the most successful. And I think a lot of that is because Ronaldo is involved in pressing, so people are trying to make it the topic of conversation. Like even on the graph that you put up, West Ham were in the bottom 5 or 6, and West Ham have been successful the last 2 years by their own standards and by most people's standards. So I wouldn't say pressing is the most important thing, but I think obviously if there's nothing going on and that's part of the plan, then that's when it's a problem.
I hear that. Carl, what about you? What was your thoughts on it?
What, the game in general?
Yeah.
To be honest, everything that went wrong, everything that could go wrong, just went wrong for Man United, to be honest. In terms of discipline, you were just completely off. Like, it felt like the players were literally playing against Ole. Like, see Pogba, like he's a great guy. He's a good individual. But he lost his head, man. He lost his head. You can't get subbed on and get sent off, man. It's unacceptable stuff. In general, the thing is, I know last week people can say, "Oh yeah, I said that the board will give Ole more time," all this kind of stuff. But some games are unacceptable under any circumstances, and like some one-off games are too much to ignore. For me personally, no matter how bad of a team you are, if you're a Premier League team, you should not get beat 5-0 by no one. If you're that kind of standard, it's just embarrassing. So Man United, the thing is, the midfield just non-existent completely. Salah wasn't even trying. The thing is, people don't realize they wasn't actually playing to their best ability in Liverpool. They could have gone way harder. And second half, they dozed off. Like they were just taking kind of easy. They pulled it off the trigger. So yeah, and it's a lot of questions under Ole, which we'll get into, of course. But no, discipline wise, it's embarrassing from United personally. Big names, you know. Even Ronaldo, I'm on him. The guy is booting minors. He's booting minors. Young generation of players beating them. Like, come on, man. This is some people's GOAT. Like, this is a god to some people. Like, he shouldn't be doing that. He's Ronaldo, CR7, you know, booting minors. Like, come on. So obviously, this is the disciplinary stuff. Ole, I don't know if it's just him. That's the problem. But everyone talks about, yeah, we got leaders, so many leaders. Harry Maguire, leader. Ronaldo, leader. Yeah. But where's the leaders for this game? Like, these are the big games that everyone's supposed to be talking about, you know? And where are the leaders now? Players are losing their heads left, right, and center. So I don't know what's going on with that. But it's a mess. It's a shambles, to be honest. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah. All right, what about you? What was your thoughts on it? What did you learn from it? You're muted.
Yeah, more or less everything I was just saying last season is just kind of a reflection of what's going on now. Before the season started, I said because you know when United signed Varane, and obviously there were a lot of like posts on Twitter where like Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, and Shaw that's a title-winning defense and stuff like that. And I did make a tweet saying that it is a title-winning defense on paper, but when you do look at it, if there's no structure in the defense, then it's all just going to fall apart. A lot of people like to focus on individuality. So people think if you bring the best right back in the world, and if you bring the best 2 center backs in the world and you bring the best left back in the world, people think naturally they have to play well. But most of the time, it all falls down to how the defensive structure is, how they react when they don't have the ball, how they react when they do have the ball. And that's something that United really struggle with. Another thing I mentioned last season as well was how important, like you were saying at the start of the show, but how important the attacking players are in defense. And a lot of people always think that an attacker's job is just to attack, but they play a very huge role in the defensive shape of the team. Because when your striker isn't going to press, or when your wingers aren't going to press, that means a team who's building out from the back, more or less, they already bypassed the first phase. And the first phase is meant to be your front three. That's the striker, the winger, and they're meant to press on the center backs and stuff to stop them from being able to come out. And once they're not doing that, they come out easily. They've beat that part. Now all they have left is just the midfield. And if the midfield, like United midfield, isn't very good, they bypass that and they're suddenly in on attack. So it's almost too easy when your forward players aren't pressing on United. It's almost too easy to just get in behind and stuff like that. So that was what I was talking about as well, like with United needing a striker who could do that properly and stuff like that. But they signed Ronaldo. Ronaldo isn't someone who would do that. That's not the system he's cut out for now. He's just more of like we all say, a goal scorer, just in a team that he can be in the box, fox in the box more or less, get the ball, score, stuff like that. And that's not really how United are trying to play. Against Liverpool, they looked very, very poor. And like Dan said, Liverpool weren't even in full gear, which is what is quite scary, because if Liverpool were in full gear, they could have gone 6, 7, 8, 9 if they wanted to, because Liverpool held off a lot. In fact, I don't even think they played particularly well. United were just that bad. There were lots of gaps in the defense, lots of holes, people left out of position. It was awful. It was one of the worst performances I've seen from any side in a really long time. It was just, especially from a top 6 side, it was awful. Liverpool did do the best. They had moments where they played well. All their players really came out for it. I feel like they also didn't have that much to do defensively as well, because United weren't really attacking that much. All around, not very promising for United. I think if anything, that would be the last straw, more or less, losing 5-0 at home to your major rivals. That's I wouldn't be able to imagine what would happen if Spurs came to Emirates and gave us 5. I would go to Emirates myself and drag Arteta out of the job himself. So I don't know how United fans must be feeling right now, but I'm sure you would struggle to find anyone.
Wait. Relax. Arsenal have been bad. You men have been bad.
We have been battered. We've been battered.
Bro, we've never lost 5-0 at the Emirates to our biggest rivals. That is next level embarrassing.
We have been battered. The biggest
results by Bayern.
The biggest results.
Brother, our biggest rivals have never come to the Emirates and battered us like that.
5-0. That's not happening, man.
In your own back garden.
That's not happening.
10-2 over 2 legs. I mean,
your biggest rivals.
I don't know how that relates to what we're talking about right now. I said if Arteta was in job and we lost 5-0 to Spurs at home, I would be calling for his head. And what Josh does is go and talk about something that happened years ago, just in an attempt to diss Arsenal. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But as I was saying, we were talking. I said if Arteta lost 5-0 to Spurs at the Emirates, or even lost 5-0 at Emirates and we're full squad 11 men from start to finish, and we lost 5-0 to any team at the Emirates, I'll be calling for his head. So for them to lose to their biggest rivals, and the manager that they're supposed to be, that's supposed to take them forward and stuff like that is, I don't think you'll struggle to find any United fan who would want Ole in. So I don't know. I think that is more or less the last straw for him. I think they play Spurs next. That'll be a very interesting game, because I think both of them are quite horrible. So more or less the battle of who's worse and stuff like that. But let's just see how that goes.
What about you, Sarah? What was your thoughts?
Wait, honestly, shambles. I mean, it was comical, to be honest. The first goal, I think, encapsulates the whole game, because 2 passes they were in. And the pressing, we spoke about the pressing, but it was just so half-assed. one player would go and then it wasn't fully committed. But if one player fucks up the press, then you still consolidate and come back because you can get away with it. And then within two passes, Shaw was the last defender. And then when Maguire and Shaw got, muddled up, and like if there's leaders, there's not between in lapses in concentration. Like Maguire was speaking about, I'm the leader, I'm the captain. You can't even lead yourself on the pitch or conduct your own defense. And as a defender and as a captain, that's a priority. We're going forward as well. We spoke about defending from the front, and you'd expect your forward players to press well and stop Liverpool from squeezing the pitch up. They're essentially playing a 4-2-4, and I don't care if you have Rice and Souček in there or even Kante. You're not stopping. Fred and McTominay are not stopping all those players. Like it's just not possible.
No. See, this is where we need to be careful of using players as an example, because I was looking back at it. The spaces that Fred and McTominay have to cover is too much for players.
But that's my point. There's too much space because the front four are just too far up. There's something going on. Like Bruno put like 25 pressures up or some shit. Like that is so unsustainable. You can't be doing that to cover Ronaldo. Like, that is ridiculous. And like that's going to affect Bruno's game going forward as well. Because if he's having to cover for Ronaldo, then
Bruno and Ronaldo aren't good together.
No, but you know what? That's one interesting thing. We're saying he's covering for Ronaldo. Another player that's really lazy is Greenwood.
Greenwood's lazy as well. He's literally the reason why that pass went through to who was it? On the flank because
the wing, yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, that led up to. Was it the one that
Bruno went to press the goalkeeper when the goalkeeper was just going to pass anyway? It's just a waste of time and energy. Like, there's no in terms of coaching and structure, that has not been worked on well enough to the point where the back four, there was only one player left on the last line, and that's just not good enough. Like, how is Keita been able to travel 50 yards? Like, who is tracking back? Who is sitting on Henderson? Is it meant to be Bruno? Is it meant to be Ronaldo? Because Ronaldo's not going to do that.
Wait, do you have any clips of it that we can look at it? Or I don't know if we'll get copyright for it.
But the other thing is as well, going forward, they're essentially playing three strikers up front. But there's no one there who's good on the ball apart from Bruno, if we think about it. Because Greenwood and Rashford, they're not going to be these guys who are going to be passing the ball and creating chances or even tracking back, to be honest. I thought
Rashford was the only one who looked all right. The first few minutes.
But he's still getting back into form. But
they did have chances though at the beginning of Man United. Bruno missed a sitter.
Yeah, they're two big
and
chances.
Rashford had an opening where he probably should have slipped through Ronaldo, but chose to shoot on sight as usual.
But Ollie's argument was, because they're at home, they want to be on the front foot. But I don't think they've practiced enough how to be on the front foot against the Big Six. They have not.
They're
not
an attacking team.
No, I disagree.
If you are on the front, what people mistake about front foot, they think being on the front foot means you need to constantly be attacking, and that's one of the biggest illusions of football. Being on the front foot, just always being in control of what's happening. So defending well, pressing well, even when you don't have the ball, that is being on the front foot. That's something City always do. When immediately anyone gets the ball from City, they start to press. They are defending, but they're still on the front foot.
But at least City have a way of pressing.
Yeah, that's what
they're pressing. Pressing well.
Yeah, you made a good point that, for example, City and Liverpool are good examples because they press in a way that they're coached.
Yeah,
they're coached. Do this in a sustainable, intelligent way that puts the opponent under pressure. Man United, it looks like they don't know who to press, where to press. Even Arsenal have a way that you can look at and say, look, they're coached in a way they know how to.
West Ham stand up in a mid block. That's not the most aggressive of presses, but it stops people from progressing through the midfield, and that's why they know. So low.
And they know their role. Man United don't in the press, and that's the biggest worry.
Yeah, I think they do. It's just a lack of intensity at times.
I don't know.
I think they don't.
I really don't know.
I disagree.
If in United's pressing, it looks like playground stuff. So even if they do press, you see someone run into one player running to another one to get the ball.
Honestly,
that player passes the ball. That ball is gone. They now see that player
out the game.
run again. That makes zero. There's no structure in that pressing. When you see Liverpool and City press, it's either two players going to one man, and then they have a way to cover for the space that the one left behind. There are different patterns you need to know how to press with.
Yeah.
When Pogba lost the ball in the midfield for the fifth goal, it was two people on Pogba. Was it even three? Two people on Pogba. He had nowhere to go. And, that is how to press. And that's what United are not doing properly. And everything else just looks a mess as well. I don't know. they're awful at the moment.
Carl, you want to say something?
Yeah, what Ori said, like people need to realize that the standard of teams Man United are playing, like that they can handle a press. These are Premier League players. They can handle a press. Like what Ori said is that no matter how hard you press, these players are taught and trained on a daily basis to be able to be resistant from the back. These Liverpool players, they're not getting stripped from that nonsense press. Like they're probably laughing and cheering at halftime, thinking it's the easiest game they've had. It was a training session. The way they're playing around the back, especially in that second half. Obviously, Man United have taken their foot off the gas a bit as well, because in the end of the day, they are a lot down. But same way, the intensity there, Liverpool are not going to struggle in the slightest to be able to pass it around and be in complete control, even from the first half as well. Their little one man-to-man kind of press thing, it's not working. And Liverpool, you have to remember, like with both the fullbacks as well, the amount of offerings they're having, it's just overworking Man United to an extent. So in every aspect of the game, from midfield, defense, and the front, Man United were overworked. So it kind of makes you argue, like, what are Man United actually good at right now? Like, what's the benefit? That's the thing. See with Ole, some people Ole in, like, where can you go from this kind of thing? Because the attack's not working, defense is not working, midfield is the worst problem, probably the worst midfield we've ever seen in our time alive, really. So it's dark times.
See, no, with Ole, yeah, I know right now the way he set up the team isn't best. If you have a guy that's suboptimal in pressing, so Ronaldo, it's probably best you play in a slightly deeper block, in a mid block. I 100% agree that probably Ole he has had his shortcomings. Obviously, we're all in agreement that he should be sacked, but I kind of disagree when we're saying that they're not drilled to press. I think they are. I think sometimes we need to look at, is it that the pressing is poor? Is it the execution? And I think the biggest issue of United is at times with the pressing is the intensity. We saw with the first goal, Wan-Bissaka's a second late, Greenwood's a second late. It's not necessarily that they're
not a second late though. It's
The
like
thing is,
lazy pressing. It's not
naturally, your intensity would fall off if when you're pressing, you're not getting what like you want out of the pressing. So when you're pressing and you're not getting the ball back, you're just running circles. Naturally, your intensity would drop off naturally because the players will get tired, they'll get unmotivated and stuff like that. So it's all back down to Ole and like the system of pressing. If you're not pressing and getting the ball back, then what's the point of pressing? You're just running, wasting your stamina. You know, it's more or less, useless. That's what I kind of think about the intensity.
And Josh, surely, like, so I think everyone is accepting of the fact that we know Ronaldo is not going to press. So because Ronaldo at this point is a key component of your team, you need to factor that in when you're making decisions regarding tactics. Like Tuchel's a very good example. Chelsea last season were not the high pressing. They weren't pinning teams back with their press. A lot of times Chelsea sat back.
Chelsea.
Especially in the Champions League.
You would argue that Chelsea's press isn't as aggressive.
A lot of times Chelsea sat back.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Last season we did, Josh.
There were a lot of times Chelsea sat back last season.
Yeah, last season we did, Josh.
Chelsea, and that's what Ole needs to do. Ole needs to adapt his team to the team, adapt his tactics to the team he's got.
A good example was that the FA Cup game against City
and the Real Madrid game.
And you guys sat back a lot of the time. And that was because he knew that he didn't have the players he wanted to engage.
Even with like Lukaku now, Lukaku's not going to keep like pressing religiously, is he?
But what Lukaku does is, the hold up player.
Yeah, 100%, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and that does obviously.
That's what United need to do.
Maybe I'm looking at it as
Ronaldo he's not even holding up play. He's not pressing. He's not. I don't know. All he can do is more or less just score goals.
And if we're saying that the team should be built around Ronaldo, that's wrong. It should be built around Bruno, because Bruno is literally the reason they've got this massive improvement going.
Build the team around Bruno.
Are you mad? It should not be about Ronaldo.
If we're being honest right now, Ronaldo is
the team definitely has to be built around Bruno, because Bruno is the most important
player in that team.
Bruno.
He's the most involved player. So who should the team be built around then, Josh?
What, with the team they have now?
The team they have now, who should they build it around?
Ronaldo. You have to build it not around Bruno.
That's what I'm saying. If you build your team around Ronaldo, you're setting yourself up for failure. Unless you have a team. Unless you're Pep Guardiola, maybe. That's more or less it. I don't see any coach who can successfully attack maintain high pressure without having a striker who even Pep wouldn't even want Ronaldo.
Pep would get pissed off by
Because
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo
Remember, I said that last week. Pep wouldn't want Ronaldo. I
Yeah,
said
Pep
that.
would get pissed.
in a lot of aspects, Ronaldo
Now
is
that I'm just thinking
passenger
about it,
in a lot of
now that I'm
aspects.
thinking about it, a lot of the time Pep would even get pissed because Pep wants strikers to do something, to actually get the ball, use the ball,
Drop
like,
deep press.
deep
Like,
press,
there's so many
like
things.
that. I don't know.
I was telling you, Ronaldo's an average player for years.
Hey.
That's a drag.
Average.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Relax, man. Relax.
No, but systematically, Bruno needs to be the fulcrum of that team. He's the only one who can progress the ball, the only one who creates chances, really.
Nah, Bruno's too high risk, high reward, man. Nah.
But in that team, he's actually the only guy. Until Sancho makes his place in the team, there is no one else creating.
Nobody in that team is ever going to do what Bruno is doing for them. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
The only person who could closely replicate it is Rashford.
Sancho.
No.
I think Sancho.
But
Sancho needs to be that guy.
I don't even think Sancho will reach Rashford levels for United. From what I've seen so far,
I think I agree.
No,
with that,
but before, because we were talking about Bruno, obviously we'll get on to managers' appointments, but building your team around Bruno, I don't know.
I don't think a team necessarily needs to be built around one person.
Bruno
Like
is
Liverpool, for
how
example, have the wings in general. Like the inside forwards. And Liverpool, for example, that your team doesn't need to be built around one specific person. Liverpool have accounted for both their fullbacks and their inside forwards with other players. So it benefits them in a way that you could argue is built around them. So Man United should kind of adopt the same model where they try to account for more than one player. And I understand it's going to be very difficult for both Bruno and Ronaldo because they both have their own flaws, which I don't know if you can have at the same time and coexist. But that's what you got to try and do.
Do you know why Sarah saying they have to build a team around Bruno? Because firstly, Bruno has to start. That's established. You're not going to bench Bruno. I mean, at the end of the day, he has that in everything. You would bench Bruno, fair enough. That's you. I wouldn't bench Bruno. Most managers in the world would bench Bruno.
Wait. No. Let's be serious. As a manager, let's say you had the clean reign. You would build your team around Bruno.
I wouldn't build my team around. He's not my type of player in terms of anything.
But okay,
in this team,
if I entered United now as a manager, I would build my team around Bruno. So
if the fact that Pogba's still here, I would build it around Pogba. Bruno. I'm not building around Bruno.
I wouldn't bring around Pogba. Just because like Pogba's already had that history with United. Like Pogba needs a fresh
It does.
There's times players just need a fresh start. I wouldn't build my team around Pogba. I would sell Pogba and I would keep Bruno. So when I say build, when you say build a team around Bruno, it's more or less saying like, so United shouldn't play a 4-3-3 because Bruno can't play in a 4, those kind of things. So it's not more or less like you're saying everything, but you're just more or less kind of making it seem like, yeah, Bruno is that guy. You need to make sure you're playing in a system that is, more or less suited for him, because Bruno is the only one that actually most of the time scores goals, create chances for them. And as much as he plays whatever people call hero ball or whatever, but he still does, what he's done. But against Liverpool, I actually thought they should have started Lingard, actually. I thought they should have started Lingard against Liverpool. Just because Lingard would have done the pressing, and Lingard sometimes is that guy for some games like that. Like he does know how to turn up in some certain moments and stuff like that. And also just his pressing alone is even just an added bonus and stuff. But,
the Bruno one, I can't hear it, man. He's like, I don't feel Bruno offers you that security and possession that you want.
Yeah, but that's why you build the team around.
That's why you build the team around him. So the two midfielders you get behind him, they would have to do that. You need to get midfielders who can play. That's what we do mean by build a team around Bruno.
So you want basketball games then? So get the ball.
If you deep it,
basketball games.
So some players of such like high importance that they should be allowed to give them that bit of freedom where they don't actually have to track. Like if you look at the best teams over the last like 20 years, really, there's always one player where they're allowed to give him the freedom. Let's look at Hazard. We wasn't telling Hazard to track back. Let's be honest. We wasn't telling Hazard to do.
No, but they're of higher quality though. Bruno
and Trent is a good example as well. Trent, if you look at Trent, you'd be like, why are you building around a right back who can't defend? But look at the output. Look at what it's done for them.
We have to respect. Even I'm not the biggest fan of Bruno, but we have to respect his output for Man United last season was incredible standards. So they can't ignore it, because at the moment there's nothing going on anywhere else on the whole pitch really.
No, 100%. Yeah, what he's done, what he's done, 100% is brilliant. When people are saying he's one of the best attacking midfielders in the world, rightly so, because of what he's done in it, 100%. But I'm just the way how I see him play football, the high risk nature where he gets the ball, puts him across, gets the ball, he does a long 40-yarder.
Is that personal preference though? Is that personal preference that you just don't personally like it?
It's not, I don't think it's bias anymore. It's just watching him and just thinking, I don't think
the reason I said it is because he's the only player in that team who creates enough chances.
He's so high risk. Like he will always try. Like he's
great. That's the reason they bought Sancho in. That is literally one of the reasons.
You know, we were talking about this and we said, who was it we mentioned? We mentioned Odegaard, and we mentioned how Odegaard was like a direct opposite of Bruno more.
Yeah.
So what we mentioned was that Odegaard always likes to wait for that perfect moment. He always likes to wait to make that 100% pass. And a lot of the times, it doesn't work. So I'd rather have a player like Bruno who would, take 10 make 10 chances a game. Even if one goes through and he gets the assist, I mean, it's still better than nothing.
Bruno is just a different... At the totality, at what cost? The amount of turnovers this guy is going to create, where you're going to be on the back foot as well. You have to counter that in as well.
And that is why you put two midfielders who can actually play football behind Bruno. No disrespect to Fred and McTominay, but I mean, if Bruno had two midfielders, I don't know who I could think of right now. Maybe Fabinho and let's say Verratti behind Bruno. Like that would more or less be a very ideal midfield because Fabinho would sit back. Verratti can also bring the ball from attack, help in transitions, something like that. So you just need two midfielders behind Bruno who can. I don't know, to be fair. A lot of the times, someone like even like De Bruyne plays like a winger. De Bruyne
has high quality though.
De Bruyne occupies the heart, but that's
we literally said this a few months ago. We said that Bruno and KDB, they're gonna do this regardless. Like we've sort of like transitioned here. We've said that now, like it's better than having Odegaard who's gonna do like perfect passes and that. So, and then my thing is that Bruno still works tremendously hard. Like he works harder than Greenwood and works harder than Rashford at the moment. So it's more just focusing on their defects, but they're not working hard enough and whatnot. So Bruno's fine. And yeah, the DM situation
Bruno,
fixed that.
Do you know, we're saying that Bruno, obviously he likes to force a lot of passes and whatnot, but do you think some of that has got to do with, because I know we've spoken before about how there's individual where players create chances themselves, like individually, and there's system chances where the system will create chances. Do you not think because there's not many there's no system chances at United and there's no real other players, maybe Sancho aside, that's going to create chances? Do you not think that he, as a result, has a massive burden to create and therefore kind of has to force a lot of stuff?
No, I do hear that. I do hear that.
No, that's exactly it at the moment, I think.
Now, one thing you can't fault about him is just like, I do rate his mentality. I love the fact that he's willing to always try things. You have to be a risk taker in order to make things. That's how you create chances. You have to take risk. You have to, I don't know, you always have to be thinking. And I do like that Bruno, but I don't know, Bruno to me is just an extremity, like too much. And I don't think he has also the quality necessarily. Like he's a good footballer, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have the quality like a De Bruyne.
That's because it's not being spread around the team.
Consistency
I would much prefer it if it was being spread around the team and Rashford was creating chances at front and Greenwood was doing it. And again, Greenwood should be playing up front, but then they signed Ronaldo, which means they didn't sign a DM. Like, it's all a domino effect. So, yeah.
I think one thing that we learned was that with the way they're playing now, even if they had a DM, it wouldn't change anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The system is too flawed.
Yeah, sorry, big up the guy, Declan Rice, but real Declan Rice, he wasn't saving them. He wasn't saving them.
Never. If Declan Rice, Kante, and Soucek were all there, it wouldn't even have made a difference.
He wasn't saving them.
It wouldn't have made a difference.
Like, people been gassing up. Another topic that I want to see people's thoughts is Luke Shaw has been given a high status over the last long time, which I felt for it. I'm not gonna lie, I felt for it.
Speak on it, please.
Kind of had me on some peer pressure.
Dan's happy.
And
I've been telling people, man.
I was hearing like best left back in the world, low-key, and I was hearing obviously I'm not gonna get onto Wan-Bissaka because I know like you guys respect him and he's a good player individually, but he's a high respected No, fullbacks. So what's going on? Salah's having a field day. Like Salah, Josh, remember, like you said, Salah is not even that good of a technical footballer, but he's having a field day. Like what's going on? So,
Can we say this thing that Salah can't? Did you say Salah can't pass? By the way, Josh, Salah's passing
He's
is
a decent creator. I said he was a decent creator. I said it before.
Okay.
Nah, don't worry. Josh already.
No, me and Owen will go back.
Josh already did his apology. He did
Yeah,
his
Josh don't
apology
hide from his takes, bro. Josh don't hide.
He
He'll
did
tell
his
you.
apology.
Sorry, I said sorry.
last week. He did his apology last week. It's good. Nah, Salah is incredible, man. He's incredible.
Before we go on to Liverpool and
Yeah.
Salah, United with their manager. So who should they get? There's Conte. I'm not sure about Zidane if he's coming, but there's Ten Hag, Luis Enrique. What are we saying, man? What are we saying?
I think they should go for Ten Hag, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Ten Hag or Enrique, because although I think Conte is a top manager and I think he's clear of Oli, I think Conte is a very structured manager. And when you've got superstars, structure don't really work a lot of the time.
You know, that's the thing. If Conte came in, he might have a couple teething issues.
He would.
But I think he could make it work with the team, innit? But the only issue, you see, if Conte came, I think
Jesse Lingard a wing back.
You'll do a 3-5-2. I think you'll do a 3-5-2.
Of course.
Hello,
It would have to be Ronaldo.
Short left centre back.
It would have to be
Or Wan-Bissaka, a right centre back. Maybe.
You see the thing with Conte, that's like as much as he's a top manager and he's one of my favorite choice managers ever, he will get results for Man United, but it won't be nice. It won't be nice. The board will be against him. The fans will be against him. Like it's not gonna be the players will hate him. The players will hate him. Ronaldo will not like this guy at all because Conte he don't care. He don't care at all. He'll make people do stuff they do not want to do, and it will get results for the team. But in the end of the day, it's not a good project. What Man United would want. They want an attacking project to bring all these young players through. But Conte, if he comes to your team, it will end in one way, and he'll eventually get sacked because every system, as you say, comes to an end. But I think when they have two more midfielders, I think Zidane will be ready. You know, I think Zidane needs a super team, and Zidane is he'll be great for a super team. But I don't think Zidane's not. He doesn't want to work with McTominay and Fred. Like I'll be real, he's avoiding that all day long. Like so now, I don't know. It's a weird one. Because I think any of them is better than Oli, if we've been real. Any of them is better than Oli.
Yeah. Is there any other like outsiders that you think people ain't mentioning that could do a good job?
Not
I
really.
saw Brendan Rodgers linked, but
No way, Jose.
Ori's thoughts on Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, Enrique and Ten Hag.
I heard Southgate is the 5th favourite. I don't know how.
It'll be even worse.
No way.
It'll be worse than Ole, 100%.
Yeah,
I think Eric Ten Hag or Enrique. I think Zidane would do a good job. I feel. I mean, he should. Conte. Yeah, I think Conte will be fine. But yeah, I don't know. Conte is really just his European record also isn't really good. So I mean that's also a concern. Also he seems like a very short-term kind of guy, more or less. Not someone that you think will be there for like a very, very long time, which United probably won't.
But to be fair, do they not need that now though? Because like right now they're looking to like benefit on this project that Ollie's got.
Yeah. That is true.
The board, they don't know what they want.
This current squad, though, would Conte be able to do anything? I'm not sure, actually. I'm actually not sure.
I think he'd win a trophy.
I think, they win a trophy.
This season? I don't think.
Yeah.
If Conte came in now, I don't think they would.
There'll be teething problems if he came in now. Because
if he came in now, there'll be serious problems, man. There'll be serious problems. Like, he might consider even dropping Ronaldo. And
he would.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And that is going to be a big.
I think you consider dropping Bruno as well.
He drop Alderman. He don't care.
No, he'll put Bruno behind two strikers.
You consider dropping a lot. That's the thing.
No. But what formation would he play? 3-5-2 or
5-2, 3-5,
3-5,
3-4-1-2,
or 3-4-2-1.
1-2. Yeah.
I think he plays Pogba. He likes Pogba from the Juve days, so I don't know if he does play good.
Well, he was playing what? Brozovic, Barella, and Sensi last year.
Ericsson as well.
Ericsson.
So They just
Conte
need the lights.
he can work with them, but as you
He
said,
would try to play Bruno in the midfield, see if it works. If it doesn't work, then he'll probably drop Bruno. But then yeah, there are just some players that he just can't drop, which is why it wouldn't work for him really. I don't even think he might. He would want. I don't think he would really want the job like that.
nah.
Like, doesn't mean there are a lot of players there that just don't, fit his system, fit or anything. But yeah. Let's see what way they go. But I really don't think Ole's going to get sacked yet.
I think they're gonna stay with him.
I think he's very close to, but still not yet.
The board love him. The board love him. That's what I was saying the other week. Like
Haven't they? They've started poorly for the last 3 years since Ollie's been there, and then they've got 6.
I don't think to rectify this, man. This one's.
But then they've also got 6 tough games, and you know what happens? They always they'll beat Man City and they'll lose to Watford or something.
They can't do it because remember what he did. They lost 6-1 to Tottenham, and he brought in McFred, and obviously McFred sat back.
And then maybe he goes to 5 at the back then or some shit.
I feel like once like fans become very self-aware, and once it already starts getting to like mainstream media, I think the number of days are only
he's
a number
already there, man. As soon as you lose 5-0,
like he's already like it's
Despite
already
Neville and Rio's best efforts, man, they can't save their mate's job.
Once it's already the debate is already this like deep, then it's more or less gone. Like I don't really see anything.
But if we're talking about winning trophies, we're almost at the point where like the squad is nearly complete. The players are in place. So if they want to go lights out and get Conte for 1 season or a season and a half, then
them fair enough.
But tactically, Ten Hag would probably be the best option, I think, if they want to be this like fluid team that's gonna be able to adapt to multiple systems.
True.
What's it called? With the Gary Neville thing, man, they should just leave him alone, man. You can tell he's trying to back his mate. I don't know why people.
But Josh, you have to look at him and pay for that opinion, and he's clearly like showing he's meant to be impartial, and he's
your job is
blaming all different stuff.
Your job is
literally not to be biased, like.
Why are you putting these pundits on the pedestal, man? Just leave them. If man wants to back his friend, let him back his brother.
His reasoning is so dumb.
His reasoning was because he sacked his manager at Salford City after 6 games, and Paul Scholes was crying. That's what it was.
Taking is so deep now, and he's just bringing up word. I think there was one tweet that he was like, let me read out. He was like, here we go or something. he said if United would have said 22 years ago that United fans would be turning on me for supporting the guy who won us the Champions League, I would have said no way. But it's 2021, folks. In this Johnson era, anything goes. So he's bringing up because Ole scored the winner in the Champions League.
They should get Steve Bruce. How does that have anything to do? Legend Steve Bruce. It's a Brucey.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make any sense. I know he's trying to back his mate, but like it comes a time where you just need to say it as it is, But I don't know.
I think the worst argument is where he said, we've had 2 world-class managers and it's not worked.
And it's not worked.
Oh, yeah. That's what Jamie Carragher's trying.
That was awful.
What?
Awful.
That was his reasoning for not going for another world-class manager. It's ridiculous.
Imagine if he said that about players. Imagine if he said,
has always been United's best manager since Fergie, though.
Nah.
Who do you think it was?
For me personally, it could sound biased, but I think what Mourinho actually got out of that
I agree with you.
Firstly, after this argument is very because Ole has a way better squad than Mourinho did. So it's very objective, and Mourinho won trophies. So
and got second.
But you have to look at it though. That's mainly one of the reasons why is because Ole's squad building was better than Mourinho's.
Yes.
But is that just because he's spending money?
Well, they both spent money.
Ole spent significantly more.
Yeah.
Mourinho was never touted.
Mourinho did spend money though. He just
400 million.
How much did it? 400 million in what? Like
Mourinho bought Pogba, Lukaku, Lindelof, all them, man. So
he spent
money.
Over 200.
I think the only one that has the argument was Van Gaal, because Van Gaal had players that he actually wanted to bring and they didn't give it to him. So Van Gaal actually has a fair argument.
He was playing Paddy McNair centre back, bro.
Yeah, but
I can't remember Moyes' time at all. It's like it's the back of my mind.
No.
How long was Moyes there for?
Moyes bought in Fellaini and called it a day.
No, you know the thing with Moyes, yeah? Moyes was there for like 6 months, but United still had high expectation.
Yeah.
The
job was 2 years. The expectations were too high.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a Ferguson transition though.
Yeah. After Ferguson, isn't it? Yeah.
Because but the reason why people had Moyes as high pedestal is because it was literally Ferguson's appointment, and like
Yeah.
Ferguson was the referee, so it was fair enough at the time. But that was the worst.
If Ollie was there, if Ollie was the one after Fergie, he would have been sacked. Like,
Yeah, 100% easily.
Yeah.
But obviously, because like expectation has changed now, United
Yeah.
to go down, so you kind of have to alter it to the current time that you're in. But with that question of who's the best, I don't know. I think they're all on par, really. You could say Ollie has taken them furthest, I would say, in terms of.
But has he though?
That's the best squad they've had since.
I think he has bridged the gap like between them and actually being, because if any other manager comes in now, it should just take a few tweaks for them to actually win anything or do something tangible. But
they're not far off.
They're not far off. I'm not going to act and say that you don't have a good team and stuff like that. Like that's what everyone obviously knows, that United have a good team. But yeah, it's just a few tweaks and and Ole is just not being able to make those tweaks. So I guess it has to go.
Yeah.
Obviously I'd want him to stay, but yeah.
Liverpool fans mocked it.
Liverpool fans were saying Ole in at the wheel.
If you're basing it on trophies, then Ollie's the worst, isn't it? But I mean, if you're basing it on where you came from the beginning to where you end, you can say Ollie slightly. But again, I think they're just all on par. No one's really outdone each other, really. But Ollie did well, and then I mean, he's not a top manager in it, so we've seen that. So it's time to move on. Let's move on to a top team. We'll even talk about the title race now, because we're nearly 10 games in. But congratulations to Salah, highest scoring African now. He's on mad form. Liverpool are looking crazy. One thing though, they're picking a lot of injuries in midfield now. I don't know if that's going to be an issue for them, because Naby Keita's out, I think now. Milner's out.
Elliott's out.
Thiago's not serious, man. Fabinho. Who else? I think there was another.
Elliott.
Yeah, so I mean that could be a cause for concern for them. Out of the three so far of Chelsea, City, and Liverpool, who are we saying is the favourite out of those three? Dan?
Yeah, it's got to be Liverpool, man. Liverpool are just unbeatable at the minute, and Salah's form. I think Salah this season, if it's not for AFCON, I'd be very confident of him beating his own record. He's playing different level, man.
I don't think AFCON really stops there. I think he misses just 2 games.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I thought it was a month though.
No,
I thought it was
a lot of people think it's more. I think there's I think in January there's either an FA Cup game weekend or something like that. I think there's also Carabao Cup as well in one of theirs. So I think it got all balls, and that's even if Egypt even go far in the competition. Max 2, I think 3, even max 3, I think. But yeah, he shouldn't be missing that many games. He probably could still break the record, so I wouldn't put it past him really, because he's already on 10 goals now in October.
In 10 games, which is crazy.
10 games, which is crazy. Yeah, 10 goals in 10 games. That is amazing. That's incredible.
It's 9 games in.
Are we 9 games in?
Yeah, 9 games in. So
that's 10 and 9. So it's above, scoring over 1 goal per game on average. That is incredible. I still think Liverpool would do it. I backed Liverpool from beginning of season. But yeah, with the injuries, obviously everybody knows that is Liverpool's biggest concern every season. Their squad depth and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think it will go down to City and Liverpool. I do see Chelsea having a small drop off in the season. But I think Chelsea will still be up there. So Chelsea, Liverpool, City, then I think everyone else is just, I think every other, I think fourth is up for grabs. And I've been saying that from the start of the season. I think fourth is up for grabs. You cannot tell me who I think is, I can't say who is coming fourth.
Currently West Ham are there.
I mean, let's be honest. If United get it right with their
United
should.
United sack Ole and bring in a good coach, and yeah, they should comfortably make top 4 stuff. But right now, top 4 is definitely up for grabs. I think the only 3 that are actually kind of clear are Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, and I do see Chelsea just having a small drop off at some point in the season. But yeah, that is it for me.
Do we think that Because now United are what 8 points from Chelsea. Are they out of? Is the four has become three in terms of the title race?
I always said it was three. To be fair,
Yeah.
I
No,
just
but
I
the
always
general public was saying
I always just mention United out of respect, really, because
yeah.
but ideally I would just.
Well, it's more so that they should. More so that it should be.
It's more, yeah, it's more so like they
Yeah.
should rather than they will. I was more saying that they should, but yeah, United aren't that team.
You know what? Yeah, it all depends on when they sack Oli, because new manager bounce. Yeah,
New manager bounce is insane, man.
If they sack him right now and then they win these 6 hard games and then
Yeah,
they've got a relatively easy December to March or something.
I'm just hoping they don't sack him before we play them, really, because I am trying to get through.
Yeah, they got Arsenal and Chelsea one after the other.
Yeah, they have Chelsea, Arsenal back to back, and now they have Spurs, City back to back. Yeah, it's
Villarreal.
It's an incredible run, man. There's no way, like even if, but the funny thing is that if only it's like they get results in these games, it all becomes very funny. Like that is why they're stuck in that cycle, man. And if Ole gets results, like right now, fans will literally be praying for him to lose. They'll be praying for United to lose, and that is incredible because they know that if United do start winning this game, then you can't sack him after like it makes more sense to sack him now after you've just lost 5-0 than let's say they go on a 5-game winning streak now to now sack him after that. That seems like I don't know.
You know when this result might have been even better would have been against. I think Man City game is before the international break.
Yes.
If it's before an international break, you have no excuses. Like, bro, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, you can sort out and everything. I think by City, if City smack them, then he's gone. He's good. Like 3-0 plus kind of thing. Then yeah, that's wraps for him.
Carl, what about you? You have any confidence in the boys, or you think City and Liverpool?
I'll be real. I think Liverpool are very clear right now. I think as a system-wise, as I know, like over the last few years, people been talking about Man City having the best system in the league, but now I think Liverpool like surpass. Like what we're seeing is actually like they're making history, man. Like what we're actually seeing is insane. Not even from just the individual standpoint of like Salah and stuff, but the system that they have is actually perfection in terms of. I think you're lying. I think you're lying to yourself. If you actually deep a system and like what their goal is, they've actually perfected it. Like if you actually deep what they're trying to do.
I don't understand how Klopp has maintained.
Honestly, with the budget,
with the budget, without getting significantly new players, like he's playing with the same team more or less.
I mean, Salah's never really got injured. Mane's never really got injured.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. That's a whole other story. If some players are injured, then it's kind of wraps. But same way, when these players are playing like that, they're not losing. They're not losing like playing like that. It's impossible. Who's beating them? That's the thing.
No, Liverpool are vulnerable at defense. They are quite vulnerable.
Obviously, I back Chelsea, and I do think we have it to win the league based off Tuchel. But Liverpool are much better than us right now. It's a fact.
I don't think they are like much better than us. I think with Liverpool, you can catch them on the break. I feel like Liverpool this season are a lot more attacking. And I think, what's it called? Their midfield isn't quite as conservative as they once was. You're seeing Naby Keita making third man runs, Henderson when he was playing as well.
That's just an evolution of the system. That's just an evolution. Like they need someone in the midfield to start.
I think they're a bit more vulnerable.
I think with Chelsea though, I think Chelsea have. I don't think Chelsea are like at that part of their project, if you want to call it, with Tuchel yet. I think next season Chelsea will be at that level, because I think this season Chelsea have been very good, very impressive, but I think this season XG might catch up with them because their creativity and I think that's the one area where I look at Chelsea and I'm like, that's not at an elite level yet. Like Liverpool, they have so many areas where they're elite. I think Chelsea, once they improve that, and I think they will next season, that's when I'll put them on the same level as Liverpool.
Yeah, like, I don't want to be reactionary, but you see after the game against Man United, if Liverpool was to win the Premier League and get in the final of Champions League, you wouldn't be surprised. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, that's insane. You actually wouldn't be surprised. For Liverpool to get far in the Champions League run and win a domestic trophy and push for like, I'm not saying they will win a treble or anything, but if they was to push and get far, you wouldn't actually be that surprised, because at the moment right now, I was gonna say it's only Man City and Chelsea in English football that can compete at that kind of level right now. Man United, I think they have dropped off out of that bracket, which people did say they'd be up there. So now it's decreasing. And as already said, Chelsea gonna maybe have a drop off, which I do kind of think that could happen, which leaves Man City and Liverpool. And right now, Liverpool are the better team than Man City. Let's be honest. Man City, they do have their defects, I guess, with the whole they don't really play with like strike and all this kind of stuff, which could catch up with them. But yeah, I think Liverpool, they're doing great. But as you say, deep into the season, when Salah gets injured, maybe or if he does get injured, Mane is kind of off the cuts. But the way Jota, he can play anywhere, left wing, striker, cam. He's like interchangeable. It's popping.
Football is a sport that like gives and takes, and like against Norwich, I think you had like what, and I can't remember the exact number, but I think you had an XG of about 2 or something like that, and you scored 7 goals. Yeah, it was about 2.
What?
It's like 2.4. So, yeah.
No way, that's true.
Let me find that.
And you had a penalty. So from open play, you probably had less than 2, if in terms of.
Yeah.
So, and I do remember there was a time when we were under Emery, and I think those time was it against Valencia or something. No,
XG was like 0.9. We scored 4.
And we scored, yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that football is always, there are times you get away with things like that, but when it comes to it, it would always catch up with you. And when we got to that final against Chelsea, we got absolutely destroyed. And that's when you can always tell that football is a very predictable game. Like, you will get away with a lot of things sometimes, but when it comes to showing quality, when it comes to getting over the line, football will always catch up with you. Like, all this stuff always catch up. And that's why I do see Chelsea having that small drop-off some point in the season. And at that moment, like Liverpool and
it was 3 points.
3.11.
Jesus.
And you had a penalty. You had a penalty, yeah. So
what was West Ham Tottenham? Okay.
Yeah.
Spurs didn't have a shot in the second half.
Spurs are awful, man. Fuck.
Yeah. Josh, personally, the only way that's Chelsea gonna get saved is if Tuchel can get something out of Lukaku, and if that can change around.
That is what I think as well. Lukaku should be scoring way more goals in any sensible system. Lukaku should be scoring more goals. Even when Lukaku was in United and he was relatively quote unquote not playing that well, he was still scoring goals. Yeah. So it's very
cause for concern right now.
It's very worrying. I'm not even blaming on Lukaku now. I'm more worried about Tuchel not being able to get Lukaku scoring. Like last season when Jorginho was your highest goal scorer, people were saying, oh, it was because of Werner and all those things like that. But now we're seeing it again. Your highest goal scorer is probably, who is it? It's probably Mount or
probably like one of the defenders. Probably, who knows? Like Mount, then Chilwell or something. Yeah,
I think they're all tied on 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Lukaku has 3. I think Mount's just got hat-trick.
But in Chelsea's team, it's like they have the tools, they have the attackers. Like we can see like next year them being maybe clear title favourites potentially. Who knows? But I think the Lukaku thing, we said this before, like it doesn't matter because Lukaku's gonna be clinical, and maybe that's gonna fix the issues of them not creating as much, but Lukaku being clinical will maybe get them an extra like 10-15 points. But yeah, for me, City, and I don't know. I'm gonna back City because I feel like the system is still like undefeated. But Liverpool have took over that mantle of squeezing up the pitch, keeping their opponents at bay, and also scoring more goals. We've seen that back before. They weren't scoring enough goals, and last season they struggled to create high quality chances, and they were just obviously just crossing it in. Now it's a bit more 1 touch, 2 touch into play, and obviously the midfielders, as Josh said, like it's becoming a bit more expansive, and they're starting to use their midfielders a bit more. I still back City to win the league. I think.
I'll be honest. In a season where Pep and Klopp have their team and they're not affected by injuries too much, ideally most of the time they're going to be top 2. I really don't. I really don't think there's much anywhere around it. Both of them have more or less mastered the league to that particular extent. Like that moment when they were doing the 99-100 points, like they can't reach that level and not know what they're doing, more or less. Like they are going to find a way this season. I feel at the end of the day, it's just going to be them 2 up there at the end of the season. I'm still backing Liverpool to just slightly edge over them. But yeah, I see them being top 10. I think Chelsea just being behind and then the rest up, like I said, up for grabs. If
what's everyone's like top 3 then in order? or top four.
Liverpool City, Chelsea, and I don't know fourth. I don't know. It's coming
Same,
fourth.
but Man United probably fourth.
Mine is City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United.
I think everybody kind of backs Chelsea for third. Really.
I don't really like to comment because obviously I would want to see first Chelsea, but
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Chelsea. I feel like there's a lot of scope for him, and we still yet to see maybe perhaps four at the back. So,
Does anyone see Chelsea dropping out of top three then?
No.
No way.
Like,
No way.
Chelsea a lot of things, but they're not bottle jobs.
Fair enough.
They're like we're quite going over here. They're a proper team. Like, and they can defend well.
I think they're like, the thing is the defenders have scored so many goals this season. That I know it sounds good, but it is worrying. It is very worrying when most of your goals and a lot of the goals are coming from defenders. Like it's defenders are meant to pop up once in a while, like that, from scoring and stuff like that. But if it's continuously happening, your left back is scoring so many goals, your centre backs are. I think Thiago Silva had a goal and assists. Like, so I mean, it's I don't know. In an ideal system, like it more or less means that it's just random. Like there is no like your attacking players are meant to be the ones scoring most of your goals in any ideal system.
But that comes with time as well. Like when Ziyech, Pulisic, they start getting more game time, or when Pulisic gets fit, like
is
things
that
like
guaranteed though?
Well, who knows? But they have the options, don't they?
That is it. I mean, for starters, your main striker is meant to be scoring more.
Yeah.
Goals. That should be the first area of concern in terms of getting Lukaku to score more goals and stuff like that. Because eventually that would catch up. Right now, obviously, it's not troubling them. They're still, getting goals. I mean, they just scored 7 against Norwich. They're still getting goals. They're still winning games. But it would come to a time where that would need to be addressed and stuff like that. At that point is when we'll kind of see when I kind of predict the drop off, unless between
and also
they do
when
something.
Mendy goes with Senegal to AFCON, maybe Kepa could have like 2 or 3 blunders.
I actually think Kepa is a decent backup, to be fair. Like
done all right recently. So.
Yeah, he's done all right recently.
I
mean, for a backup, it's not like he's going to play that many games.
Right.
Just missing about 2 or 3, and I mean, it could be costly. Hopefully, they don't play like big teams around, quote unquote, big teams around there. But I don't think that should be too much of a concern. We'll see how they do.
Yeah. Let's move on to Arsenal. Your boys, 3-1 win against Aston Villa. Apparently, it was a very convincing performance. I'm just going to leave it to the Arsenal boys, innit, for this one. But it's just a vibe of, is Arteta truly finding his way now? Like, are we seeing like the foundations really coming to light now of Arteta, or is it a thing of let's relax? So Dan, what's your thoughts on it?
I can see certain things now. I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't see no style of play, no system. I can see certain things that are consistent in our game, like structurally, especially defensively. There's definitely a system there. There's a kind of goal we scored a couple of times where the ball's come into Aubameyang and he's flicked it around the corner. I think we scored a goal 2 or 3 times where you can see that's clearly been coached. But our thing is, number one, we have 2 things that we need to improve on. Number one, in-game management. We always, and this has been going on even before Arteta, our in-game management is just so poor. We need to improve that. And number 2 is consistency. Obviously, the result against Aston Villa was very, very good. I missed a lot of the first half, but from what I've seen and heard, we played them completely off the park. But for us, I mean, we can do that. We'll do 1 or 2 or 3 of these performances every season. It's just a matter of sustaining it over 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 games. So they're the 2 areas I want to see improving, man. But good signs.
Is your stance on Arteta changing, or you still want to see more?
I mean, if it were down to me, I'd still sack him because what I saw last year is unacceptable. But I'm not in the camp of wanting Arsenal to lose so that his sacking will come more like sooner. Like if we hit a bad run of form and he gets sacked, I won't be massively irritated that he's gone. But in the same way, if we hit a good turn of form, I'll be delighted and I'll get behind it.
100%. What about you, Areolua? What are you saying about Arteta?
I don't know, to be fair, because I am, to some extent, we still go into the next game where I still feel like I am worried. And So now we're playing Leicester next week, and I don't know if I did feel comfortable enough, I would say yeah, we should go there and beat Leicester and stuff like that. But I am still worried. I am still thinking that Leicester could probably beat us and stuff like that, which I don't think is a good sign. And obviously that is just because of our lack of consistency and stuff like that. After we went on that 3-game winning streak, we went to Brighton. I think that was a very important game for where I wanted us to win so we could push the table. We drew that game. I said fair enough. We'll go to Palace next at home. We should have been winning that. We drop points again. Just certain things like that. And those are the moments where I know everyone is like, now we're level on points with United and stuff like that. But really, we should have already been above United. We should have been in the top 4 by now, realistically, because I think we should have beaten Palace. We should have been on 17 points right now. Maybe even, okay, I know Brighton did play well, like Dan said, but, ideally, like City went there and, gave them 3-0 and stuff like that. Obviously, we're still very far off from teams like that, but yeah, I just want us to get to the point where I feel very comfortable going into the next game. And like Dan said, that all just comes down to consistency. So, I mean, we'll see us against Leicester and see what happens. If we do win that game, then obviously it starts looking a bit bright from there. And then just kind of building on that and just kind of, taking one game at a time, keep on winning and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I've always said I was a Teta in, but I also have very high expectations from this season. So if we do not match those expectations, it would mean that I would be a Teta out just naturally. But that's why I'm just waiting for this season to naturally like progress along the line. But I mean, so far it's looked decent. I'd expect us to have more points by this time of the season, but I guess we just see how it goes. But yeah, let's just take each game as it goes and see what happens and stuff like that. One game I'm very interested in actually is when we do play Liverpool. Not even just because I think that we could get a result or anything, but I just want to see how we play against Liverpool. I feel like that would be more or less a testament to see how far we've really come and like whether everything is just a fugazi and stuff like that. Like if we
We
can
struggle. We always struggle against Liverpool a lot. You always
you
get
think
penned in.
yeah, we do always get friendly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we do, get battered again, then it will mostly mean like nothing is really changing. So, if we do kind of have a decent game against Liverpool, decent, let me say, then I would that would show signs of progress because I can't remember when last I think there was one where we beat, but that one Liverpool already won the league, and that I don't really count that one per se, but I can't really remember when last we've actually given Liverpool like a proper game and stuff like that. It's been a while. I mean, since Klopp was actually in charge and stuff like that. I think last time I remember was I think when Wenger was here, 3-3 or something like that. But yeah, it's been a while since we've actually given Liverpool a good game. But yeah, let's just see how we. Oh yeah, and tactically wise, we have actually, like Dan said, yeah, we have had some like the goal Smith Rowe scored where Aubameyang like held up play and stuff like that. That did look good. I'm quite pleased that like he did start Laka against. That shows like he is like aware. Like another manager would have just like bench Laka for the game just because like some managers could be quite stubborn, which Arteta usually was sometimes. But I'm glad to see that he is aware that yeah, like Odegaard hasn't been playing well. Laka, high pressing, all of stuff like that. And I like how we the 4-4-2, but it wasn't really a 4-4-2, which I kind of like, kind of deceived them more or less because Laka wasn't really playing as a striker. He was just more or less like everywhere around the pitch, pressing and stuff like that. And I think that was how he kind of got the better of Villa more or less. So yeah, just taking each game, like that's what I want to see more of, like just making actual tactical stuff that just like surprises the opponents and just like disorientates them and things like that. But yeah, it looked good. And Ramsdale, I mean, I don't even know what he's way, way better than I thought. Like I'm actually lost for words now because I know I was obviously like against the signing or not. I didn't think we should sign him more or less. And yeah, he's really, really proving me wrong. Shot stopping, I'm decent in that, but I'll still need to see more in terms of that. He has looked sometimes, I think, the one against Palace that I thought maybe he could have done better. But in terms of on the ball, he looks like a midfielder when he's on the ball. I mean, it's quite amazing like how he can distribute passes and stuff like that. But yeah, good this thing from the scouting team, and let's see where all of this is going to take us. Hopefully top 4. Those are my expectations, which are very, very high. So I set it there from the start of the season, and we're not playing Champions League football, we're not playing Europa football, we're playing Premier League once a week. there is no excuses, I feel, in my opinion. Worst case, we don't make top four, but we challenge, in my opinion. But yeah, that is where I stand on
You were
it.
saying on the GC, what, Arteta Prem in like 4 years' time?
4? I don't even think it's up to 4. I think we're in it within 4.
Hey,
No, firstly, I'll be real. It's all down to Pep and Klopp leaving. I can't even lie.
That's what I was thinking.
Like I always say, if Pep and Klopp are in the Premier
And
League,
Tuchel will probably get sacked in like 2 years if it
Pep
goes
and
like
Klopp,
10 bad games.
if Pep and Klopp are in any league, you're not winning the league. Like I'm actually being real. It's not, but that's why I don't see Chelsea win. They could prove me wrong and win it, but if Pep and Klopp are in this, where they've built a team for like the past 3 years, 4 years, and they've coached the team, and the team knows them, and they know the team. Like you have to be some high end level coach to both Pep and Klopp to both do out now. That isn't great. So if Tuchel does do that, then I mean he's cold. I can't even lie. If he does win the league, but yeah, that's why I don't really see him doing that. It's just it's a job. It's too much of a job, man. It's too much of a job. So maybe when Pep and Klopp do leave, Prem,
aren't they going to leave like 1 year after each other? 2023, 2024.
I know Pep is leaving very soon. Pep's leaving
2 years. Pep said, I think.
Yeah, Pep's leaving very soon. I think he wants to go into international management. And Klopp, I know Klopp, FSG aren't backing him.
He wants a break. He wants to go on a sabbatical.
Yeah, and if Salah doesn't, for some reason, if Salah doesn't get the new contract, then Klopp is going to walk. Definitely. Because that is just incompetence from the board if they can't keep Salah.
Yeah, 100%. With Arteta, no, I'm starting to understand him a bit more. No, I do understand what he's trying to do. So
the thing is, I always feel weird when people do compliment Arteta because, like, at the end of the day, like, it would seem very weird when, like, you know, if he doesn't actually become successful and stuff like that. And I do know that he still looks like a very amateur level coach. That is the thing. But at the end of the day, like, what I am more or less, I don't want to be like cringe or anything, but I'm more or less thinking like in the future, like I know he's someone who is learning and I can see what he's trying to do and stuff like that, which is why I back him, stuff like that. Obviously, like everyone wants everything to happen as quickly as possible, but you know, just a bit of patience, I feel. Sorry about that.
Arteta. No, recently I've started to like try and understand football a bit more in it. So I do understand what he's trying to do from a tactical perspective.
But my thing with Arteta, is his stuff is a lot like when you actually look at it, in theory, it looks good and it works, and you're like, okay, I understand what he's trying to do. But theory and practical are two very different things. And like, let's be honest, every Premier League manager's plan is going to work in theory. Because if it doesn't work in theory, then what are you even doing?
What are you doing?
Just translating that. And with me, I'm not sure if he can make that translation at the top level, or even at a decent enough level.
I think that's fair, innit? I think that's a fair judgment, man. Time is always the best indicator. So as we're gonna quote Ore, what 2024 we saying or 2023?
I'm saying when Pep and Klopp leave.
No.
The first season. Okay. Which by 2023, 2024. Actually, by 2024, yeah. 2024. We're winning the Premier League with Arteta in
2024 would be managing.
Have me on record.
No, it's on record, man. Don't worry, it's on record. Bro. The YouTube people.
Bamian will be in the MLS by then.
Nah, we actually saw jokes when we actually do, and I bring this video back. I'll feel like some visionary, but if we don't, then I mean.
You know what? Aris has some visionary take, because remember the Salah thing? We all got on him. That one doesn't.
I don't even think that's visionary. I don't even think that's visionary. I just think everyone just didn't like Salah like that much. Like it was very clear to see that he was insane. He'd been scoring 20 plus goals for like the past 3 seasons or so, and like people were still not putting him in.
No, I think people were saying no, Salah is like a very he is amongst the best in it, but I don't think
no one was convinced. No one was convinced.
Yeah, no one had the conviction.
Yeah, not gonna back then I wasn't even putting Salah in the best. Now I'm putting him in the best in the world. Like, I wouldn't even debate it.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and now, like I put him over. Like I put him as the second best in Prem all time, like a long time ago. And I know people are starting to buy into that now. I do think people still think that Ronaldo is second, but I mean, I don't know.
Thing is, wait, I have a question actually. Last question. If Salah wins the Premier League again and he finishes obviously top goal scorer and he maybe wins another trophy, like at what point do you actually have to put him in the bracket of is he the best or the best player to play in the Premier League, like up there with the likes of these guys?
If he outdoes if he breaks his own record of the
Yeah.
32 goals again, I can't lie.
Like,
I know. I did. I'm an Arsenal fan, so you never catch me say on record. But yeah, let's just leave it. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a good way to.
The thing is, I'll be on like personally. I don't think Salah would reach Henry in terms of ability wise, but
no.
obviously all things have to be considered, like achievements, records, what you're doing, all of that. So if Salah is outdoing this for like the next 4 years or like
That's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, he has 5 assists as well.
That's the two things Henry has
more or less,
over cultural impact and longevity.
If he scores 20 goals for the next 3 years, he's already about 200 goals or close to 200.
Yeah.
And like he just started like,
and his goals to game ratio is insane. It's laborious.
Mad.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's not a striker. Like I don't know, it's incredible. Because Henry was a striker at the end of the day. So I mean, it's quite amazing. Like it's quite amazing what he's doing. But yeah, let's just see how at the end he might actually retire as the best Premier League footballer of all time, really. If he gets a couple more Premier League trophies, probably want to get more golden boots. Yeah, he might retire as the best, or if not the best, definitely top 2. Definitely. Right now, I think he's top 2 already, really.
Top 2 all time.
Yeah, definitely. My opinion.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I think he's top. I think Ronaldo is probably like 3rd of all time in Prem, or 4th maybe. Because I think it's all debatable, really. Because I think Ronaldo had that very, very good season, and then all the other, he was good a lot of seasons as well. But like, he wasn't there for long as well. There for a short.
To be honest, with Ronaldo, let's be honest, he only had a 3-year peak in the Premier League.
That's what I'm saying.
When you deep it, if Suarez won the Premier League that season, he would be in the conversation.
But that was just really Suarez had good seasons.
No, Suarez had a brilliant season. No, let's be honest.
Individual season.
Ronaldo only had one very peak season.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Same with Suarez. Suarez had one very peak season. Other than that, had good season. Suarez had won the Premier League that year. He would be in the conversation.
That is true.
That's what I'm saying. Not gonna lie, for me personally, guys just say Ronaldo's the best in everyone, just a bit too loosely. A bit too loosely for me personally. Like,
Salah's first season was his peak season, and he did drop in form after that season. And what's actually incredible is that him dropping in form was still scoring 20 goals per season. Like that, I don't know. That is just it's actually quite incredible. Like the level he has actually reached. I think people are just starting to now buy into the hype now, and it's like it took you 5 years, so 4 years or like I don't know. People tell you that he's now best in the world. Like. Yeah. As of this moment, he is the best. If he carries on what he's doing this season and Liverpool end up with any trophy, I think he should be getting Ballon d'Or. If he keeps on.
I agree.
Let's see, man. Let's see what happens. Any other topics?
Spurs. West Ham.
Let's talk about West Ham. We haven't spoken about West Ham.
It's been a few weeks.
Hey, sorry. How's Zuma been doing?
Mate, Europa League madness. Craig Dawson, Issa Diop, Ogbonna, Zuma. Squad depth finally after all these.
Wait, how much rotation is actually done for your Europa? Like how many players does he like?
So he's been changing like at least 9 players.
9
every game. Yeah,
that is incredible.
But on Thursday he still played like Rice, Cresswell.
Yeah, I know Rice.
But Antonio's getting like full weeks recovery. 9 goals and assists. Ben Rama's doing bits. Fornals is like taking leaps and bounds forward. The structure's good. We're just a better team now. I think we're a bit more well-rounded, creating more chances. I mean, admittedly, the game on Sunday wasn't the best game. I'll be honest. It was a pretty lackluster game. There weren't many chances.
Yeah.
I think Fornals and Kane had 2 good chances in the first half, but nothing really too much. And then the corners, like we said last year, we've been mad on set pieces, and like it took until like this week for us to finally score like 3 goals from corners and 3 kicks. So Antonio's fox in the box at the moment. I'm gonna lie.
Sorry, what's your targets? West Ham? What do you be happy with?
Back to back Euro.
I said What did you say?
Has to be top 6 again, right?
I mean, I said top 8 at the beginning of the season.
I think it better.
I just feel like we're just 2 injuries away from a disaster. Like, honestly, like if Antonio gets injured, Bowen's good. I like Bowen up front. I think he's insane at the moment, but I don't see how we can.
Most teams are 2 injuries from disaster.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but if we're trying to become that next level team, like we brought Krau in as backup to Rice and Souček. We brought Vlasic in. We're yet to see anything of him really. So yeah, I mean top 8, top 6. I mean, but then like Moyes is making a big deal out of how he wants to be in Europe after Christmas. And like, if it's one or the other, and say if we get to like a quarters, obviously that's unbelievable. But if it's a jeopardy of next season's qualification potentially for Europe, then you know what I mean. It's not the most ideal thing. I also want a cup run. I'm not gonna lie. FA Cup, Carabao Cup.
I think the
Get
best
a bit greedy.
Cup run is very, very. It should be.
Yeah.
Within grabs, to be fair. Like unless you're meeting Liverpool or City.
But we got City on Wednesday. We got City on Wednesday.
That's it then.
So Carabao Cup is a write-off.
You're playing City in the Carabao.
Yeah. On Wednesday.
And
yeah. So
Carabao is City's cup even. Like it's not. They should rename
Royal
it.
Cup. Royal Cup. Yeah.
FA Cup, you do have a shot. Unless you're meeting City and Liverpool, you have a chance of beating almost every team. I feel personally because
I'm just not as worried as before. Like before, I used to shit myself every game. I just know where, like, when we talk about blocks and stuff, I'm competent. I'm happy with like the way we're pressing, the way we're setting up.
You're a lot more structured.
The structure's good at the moment. I know that we're going to defend well. Crespo is getting covered. I hate Crespo's defending. Fornals is our James Milner, man. He can play anywhere, do what he wants. And yeah, Antonio's bagging. Rice has gone up another level, becoming very well-rounded. Distribution is insane. But I've been at the expense of Souček's game because Souček hasn't been as good as last year. Johnson's been playing well as well. He's not conceded any goals yet. Right back before Soufal comes back in. Yeah, it's good times.
In terms of long term, like what are your fans expecting? Like,
I think we just want to be. I think we just want to be consistent top 6 side, top 6, 8.
What are your fans' reactions to like the backing of the team, like getting more players in and stuff like that? Because I do know like you do complain about your ownership and stuff.
Yeah, because we'll overspend on like 2 or 3 players, and then. But my thing was like, when we sold Haller, I was like, the system just wasn't accompanying. Like, it just wasn't fit. Everyone was saying, "Oh, Haller's shit." He's not shit. It's just the system was not working for him. I mean, in hindsight, the signings we've had in the past year, they've been good. Yeah, obviously, they've been good. But I'm not going to hold my breath too long because I know what's going to happen. We're going to sign a £50 million player because we're going to have to sign a striker next year again.
Yeah.
So it's like Antonio is going to be 32, things like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, we'll see.
We got Antonio though. Then Rissier is not.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Antonio is insane, man. He's insane because like you just never really like picture him.
You never saw it coming.
Yeah, precisely.
Now, West Ham is good right now. I can't lie. Yeah. What did Rice call you, man, last year? Moy Street Boys or whatever it's called.
Backstreet Boys. Hey.
You know what I said? You know what I said about Rice the other day? Like yesterday, he's like, "Oh,
100 mil."
Yeah, I sent that to you guys, innit? I said that. I was like, you said
they're
gonna start looking. Yeah, he said 100 mil was a bargain. Yeah.
He's not staying. So.
He's stretching it a bit, but
you're not getting 100 M's because he's not staying. So you gotta firm that one.
Everyone said, "Oh, Man United's issues are elevating Rice's need at Man United."
Josh, the ones he's leaving, but some of the ones got family.
He's leaving soon, man. He's leaving soon. Take the next
contract.
step up.
Got 3 years on his contract plus an extra year. So I mean, it's gonna. We're talking big money.
Yeah. Now you've protected his value quite well, though. So
that is true.
That's quite good.
Good business.
Anything else? Anything in Europe that we saw?
PSG.
El Clasico 2-1.
Awful.
PSG. What Poch?
Poch is he's I can't lie. He's just not doing. But another thing I should say is that Neymar just seems so uninterested in club football right now. I can't even lie. It is quite sad to see, being honest, because obviously everyone knows I love Neymar and stuff like that, but he's just not been. I know he did say after World Cup he's planning on retiring.
The game, yeah.
He's gonna be so young though. He's like 31.
I don't know. I feel like the game has taken a mental toll on him. To be fair, how he broke out and the expectations on him were a lot. I can't even lie. Like,
Yeah.
he was going to be that guy. I mean, people put him as next one, Ronaldinho. People said he will reach Messi.
Biggest thing ever.
Yeah, biggest thing. I mean, people still call everyone coming up now the next Neymar. So I mean,
no, but the pressure that when he came from Santos Barcelona, it was literally the big thing.
It was literally the big thing.
Right.
The big thing. He had his moments. I mean, but yeah, those expectations are very high. I feel like the game has, and Brazil also, like how everything has panned out for him, how he got injured, that World Cup, all stuff like that. Like, yeah, he didn't look him like he looked a shadow of himself against Marseille. Messi looked all right, but still no goals or assists in Farmers League.
Shout out Saliba, man.
Saliba looked very, very, very good. Very good. Kept Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar on lock. I mean,
Marseille actually have a good team.
Sorry?
Is he playing Mbappe up top?
He played Mbappe as a striker. He played Neymar as cam. He played Di Maria left wing, and he played Messi right wing.
What's happening to Icardi? I've heard he's fallen out again. Apparently, they have to sell him. He's fallen out again with Messi.
He cheated on his wife, and he said
politics, bro.
Honestly,
he's got his own demons to deal with.
He's dealing with those stuff, man. He ain't ready to.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid won. Yeah, that was.
I didn't watch. I watched like a bit of it.
Can we talk about the downfall of El Clasico, as we know?
Oh, mate.
Downfall.
How is Luke De Jong?
You know what? I tweeted something because there was this like poster that like came out like, of all the games that were happening this weekend, Liverpool, and then there was this guy that was like, no one really cares about all the games. All everyone cares about is United Liverpool. And like a lot of people like retweeted it and stuff like that. And I do remember that Perez was talking about how people are losing interest in the game. And everyone was saying that he's lying. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But let's actually, I mean, that is a discussion we need to have one day.
I think that's more the younger generation, though. The younger generation are not going to watch games for 90 minutes. We still watch games, and older people still do. But I think you could go out cater to the younger generation because those are the ones that are going to come through.
Yeah, I feel you. But a lot of the excitement has, like, El Clasico excitement has gone. I've never seen such a decline in
the fixture. Just because they're shit, though?
It's all down to because, they're shit, and also just because, like, I don't know, people just don't care as much. Like, the Premier League is going to become, if it's not already the Super League, it is going to become, the pinnacle of, like, football one day. That's really more or less most people are watching. I mean, we speak about Newcastle earning more than, Norwich earning more than people who are finishing first in other leagues. Like, that is, the gap in terms of, like, people that watch everything is just, which was why Perez was, trying to start the Super League, and everyone was like, nah, like, you're not really buying it. But
apparently it's coming anyway. It's coming anyway. So.
Apparently it's still coming.
It's inevitable to be honest.
I think it's inevitable. Yeah, I just don't think there's anything that would stop it from happening. Like, the game is just naturally going to progress that way. All these
games will get shorter, I think, as well. I can see it. I can see them.
I can see that in future. I can't even lie. Not that I want it, but I do see that happening. It's autumn. Yeah, I don't know. Football is very.
Talk about World Cup every 2 years as well. Bring it all in.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about that one as well. Everything is just a mess right now. Everything is just a mess right now.
That's life, man. There's always going to be changes. Like, imagine. I remember when.
Not every 2 years.
I remember, but I remember playing on FIFA. The journey was like in the 1970s was the first time they brought the red cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be like evolution. Like, at the time, it's radical in it, but.
Well, there was when there was a time like you could pass back to your keeper and then he could pick it up and stuff until that game. He kept on doing it to take the piss and stuff.
That was Fugazi.
Yeah, now football is just always going to naturally progress, and the thing is that like every moment people always complain in every generation when they do like see something new and stuff like that. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I think we've been going on for a bit now, you guys.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna end it off there. Very interesting topics. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, comment below. Make sure you, man, keep that Ore timestamp. He said in 4 years' time we're gonna be back full 2024. He said, yeah. So don't worry. In 3 years' time we'll be back here. But yeah, man, you might know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and share with your people. We out.